Chapter 17. Second day of class. Kaizen stretched, feeling the familiar strength and vitality coursing through his muscles. With a satisfied smile, he rose from his bed, ready to tackle another day of rigorous training and self-improvement. He began his morning routine with enthusiasm, driven by a desire to continually test his knowledge of the Naruto series against his continued first-hand experiences. Starting with a light workout, Kaizen performed a series of gentle stretches. He then transitioned into a series of kicks, alternating legs to warm up his lower body. The snap of his foot cutting through the air added a satisfying rhythm to his routine. Afterward, he practiced handstands, holding each one steady to engage his core and improve his balance. Once his body felt adequately warmed up, Kaizen turned to shadowboxing. He threw a series of punches and kicks, visualizing various opponents. The swiftness of his movements and the imaginary resistance of his targets stimulated his mind. The silent room echoed with the faint sounds of his fists and feet slicing through the air. Feeling invigorated after his exercises, Kaizen knew it was time for breakfast. Preferring a bit of solitude this morning, he decided against the dining hall in the dormitory and made his way to the academy cafeteria. The early morning light painted the academy grounds in warm tones, casting a gentle glow on the stone walkways and lush greenery that lined them. The sun's rays filtered through the trees, creating a dappled pattern of light and shadow on the ground. Kaizen observed the lively scene around him as he walked. Groups of students stood in animated conversation, their voices blending with the cheerful chirping of birds. Their laughter rang out, carrying a sense of youthful energy and excitement. Teachers, some with arms full of scrolls, strolled past, discussing their plans for the day. Others stood in small clusters, engaged in serious conversations about upcoming lessons and strategies. The scent of blooming flowers wafted through the air, mingling with the fresh, earthy smell of the morning dew. The fragrance was a reminder of a new day's potential. The breeze was cool against Kaizen's skin, a gentle caress that added to the serene yet bustling atmosphere of the academy. As Kaizen continued his walk, he noticed the diversity of the academy's population. Some older students could be seen demonstrating techniques to younger ones, offering advice and guidance. Instructors paused to answer questions or provide encouragement, their voices calm and reassuring. The sound of footsteps on the stone paths, the rustle of leaves in the trees, and the distant clatter of training weapons created a symphony of activity that filled the air. Kaizen took in the sights and sounds, his mind processing the myriad details of academy life. The sight of students practicing in the open courtyards, the occasional burst of chakra from a training exercise, and the hum of conversation all contributed to the vibrant environment. As Kaizen continued walking, his thoughts drifted to the sheer improbability of his situation. Being reborn in Konoha, a village renowned for its strength and stability, felt like an incredible stroke of luck. He once again glanced around at the serene academy grounds, taking in the new life around him, the laughter of students, the calm authority of the teachers, and the peaceful hum of daily activities. "I can't believe I got a second chance here," Kaizen thought to himself. Of all the places and times, I ended up in Konoha during a period of peace. Given the horrors of the Shinobi wars and the constant danger those times hold, this is a blessing. He felt a deep sense of gratitude. The fact that I'm here in this era, and not in the midst of a brutal war, is something I can never take for granted. I remember reading about the countless lives lost and the devastation caused by those wars. To be here now with all these opportunities, it's almost unreal. Although, if the story follows a similar route to the one I read, then the Third Shinobi World War should begin around 8 years from now. That isn't exactly ideal given my current age, but I will just have to adjust and be thankful for what time I've already been given. He then wondered about the nature of his rebirth. Why someone like me, he questioned. After all the death and destruction I caused in my previous life, why was I given this opportunity? I was practically a force of chaos. Yet, here I am, being given a second chance in one of the few places within this world that nurtures life and potential. Thinking this, he couldn't help but feel a mixture of gratitude and curiosity. Maybe I'm meant to use my skills for something different this time, or perhaps it doesn't have any meaning at all. I suppose I will just have to see where this life ends up taking me, he pondered, allowing the thought to linger as he approached the cafeteria. Entering the cafeteria, Kaizen was greeted by the comforting smell of breakfast foods. He picked up a tray and began selecting items that would provide the necessary nutrients for his intense training regimen. First, he chose a bowl of oatmeal topped with fresh berries and a drizzle of honey. The warmth of the oatmeal combined with the tartness of the berries and the sweetness of the honey made for a satisfying start. Next, he added a side of scrambled eggs, their soft, fluffy texture promising a good source of protein to fuel his muscles. A few slices of avocado and a handful of spinach provided healthy fats and essential vitamins, ensuring a well-rounded meal. He also included a small bowl of yogurt, its probiotics beneficial for digestion and boosting his energy levels. To drink, Kaizen selected a cup of green tea, the slightly bitter aroma and taste invigorating his senses. The hot beverage complemented the rest of his meal. Finding a quiet corner of the cafeteria, Kaizen sat down to enjoy his breakfast. He ate slowly, savoring each bite and using the time to reflect on his plans for the day. The oatmeal was creamy and satisfying, the berries adding bursts of flavor. The eggs were light and perfectly seasoned, the avocado adding a smooth richness, and the spinach providing a fresh, slightly earthy taste. As he finished his meal, Kaizen felt a sense of readiness wash over him. The nutritious breakfast had provided him with the energy he needed to face the day's training, and the solitude of his morning routine had given him the mental clarity to focus on his goals. With a final sip of his green tea, he rose from his seat, ready to head to class. Entering the classroom, Kaizen was greeted by the familiar sounds of students chatting and laughing. He took a moment to observe his classmates, noting the expressions of enthusiasm on their faces. The room was filled with the faint scent of chalk and parchment, a reminder of the lessons to come. "Morning," Kaizen Aiko called out with a cheerful smile as she arranged her books on the desk. "Morning," Aiko Kaizen replied, taking his seat nearby. "Ready for another day of training?" "Absolutely," she responded, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Although I have to admit, I'm still sore from yesterday. I could barely move when I woke up." Shiro, who was organizing his own materials, turned to join the conversation. "Tell me about it." "My arms feel like they're made of lead after all that shuriken practice," he said with a groan. Kaizen nodded, understanding their plight. "It's tough, but there are ways to help with the soreness. Make sure you stretch thoroughly before and after training, and try soaking in a warm bath with some Epsom salts. It helps to relax the muscles and reduce inflammation." Aiko looked puzzled. "Epsom salts? What's that?" Kaizen smiled, ready to explain. Epsom salts are a type of mineral compound, mainly made up of magnesium, sulfur, and oxygen. They're great for reducing muscle pain and swelling. An alternative would be to use yomogi and kuromogi. These are herbs that have similar soothing properties. You could ask any family you have or visit an herbalist within the village to find some. Aiko's eyes lit up with understanding. "Thanks, Kaizen. I'll definitely try that tonight." Shiro grinned. "Yeah, me too. Anything to make tomorrow a bit easier. You sure know a lot about this stuff." Kaizen shrugged modestly. "I just pick up things here and there. I'm glad I can help." Kakashi, who had been listening quietly, chimed in. "It's impressive how much you know about treating muscle soreness. I'll have to remember that." Kaizen nodded. "I hope it helps." Kakashi then shifted the conversation. "By the way, yesterday's chakra control exercise was an eye-opener for me. I realized I need to work on it a lot more. There's a lot to improve." Kaizen offered some general advice, careful not to reveal too much of his own techniques. "From my understanding, chakra control generally takes time and patience. Maybe we can train together sometime and help each other improve." Kakashi gave a small nod, appreciating the offer. "Sounds good. Training with you would definitely push me to get better." Before they could continue, Hiroshi entered the room, his presence immediately commanding attention. The students quickly settled down, the atmosphere shifting to one of focused anticipation. "Good morning, everyone," Hiroshi began, his voice calm and steady. "Today we'll start with some academic lessons. It's important to balance physical training with mental development. A sharp mind is just as crucial as a strong body for a shinobi." He moved to the front of the room, picking up a piece of chalk and beginning to write key points on the board. "We'll begin with a history lesson. Understanding the past helps us navigate the present and future," he said, his words drawing the students into the day's first topic. The morning passed in a flurry of notes and discussions. Hiroshi spoke of the First Shinobi World War, as well as what is considered to be the second one, which recently came to an end. He also covered the founding of the hidden villages and some of the known legendary shinobi who shaped their world. He wove various tales of strategy and bravery, highlighting the importance of wisdom and knowledge in battle. Kaizen listened intently, absorbing the information and reflecting on how it compared to his previous life's knowledge. As noon approached, Hiroshi concluded the lesson. "All right, everyone, it's almost time for lunch. Before we break, I want to let you know that this afternoon we'll focus on the basics of taijutsu. Practical skills are essential, and mastering the fundamentals will serve you well in all aspects of combat." The students murmured with excitement, already looking forward to the afternoon session. Kaizen felt a familiar thrill at the prospect of this training, ready to see what techniques are commonly taught in this world. "Enjoy your lunch break," Hiroshi said, smiling at the class. "Be back here at the usual time ready to move. We'll be training hard this afternoon." As the students gathered their belongings and headed out for lunch, Hiroshi called out, "Kaizen, could you stay for a moment?" Kaizen paused, curious, and walked over to Hiroshi's desk. "Yes, sensei." Hiroshi gave him a reassuring smile. "Kaizen, I need you to meet with the principal before your lunch. It's regarding the incident yesterday with the older students. Don't worry, you're not in any trouble. The academy just takes such events very seriously and wants to discuss it with you." Kaizen nodded, a mix of relief and curiosity crossing his face. "Understood, sensei. I'll head there now." He hesitated for a moment, then asked, "Sensei, where exactly can I find the principal's office? And do I need any form of verification to enter?" Hiroshi patted him on the shoulder. "Good questions, Kaizen. The principal's office is in the administration building on campus. You should be able to find it on the campus map against the wall in the hallway. It isn't too far from here. When you enter, you'll see a reception desk. Just ask them where to go, and they'll point you in the right direction. As for verification, you don't need anything specific. The principal is expecting you, so you can go right in." Kaizen nodded, then another thought occurred to him. What does the principal prefer to be called by students? Hiroshi smiled warmly. "Principal Kamiko is fine. She's from the Nara clan and has been with the academy for many years. She's very understanding and fair, so just be yourself." Kaizen felt a bit more at ease. "Thank you, sensei." With Hiroshi's directions clear in his mind, he left the classroom and checked the campus map before making his way to the administration building, ready to address the events of the previous day. The walk to the administration building was brief, and as he entered, Kaizen was greeted by the sight of a clean, organized reception area. The receptionist, a friendly-looking woman, glanced up from her desk and smiled. "Good morning. How can I help you?" she asked. "Good morning," Kaizen replied politely. "My name is Kaizen and I have been informed that I have an appointment with Principal Kamiko regarding an incident from yesterday. Could you point me to her office?" "Of course," the receptionist said, her smile widening. "Just go down this hallway, take your first right, and you should see a door with her name on it. She's expecting you." "Thank you," Kaizen said with a smile as he followed her directions. He walked down the hallway, noticing the various offices and meeting rooms on either side. The building had a calm, orderly atmosphere, which he found refreshing. Reaching the door marked Principal Kamiko Nara, Kaizen knocked gently. "Who is it?" a kind voice sounded from inside the room. "It's Kaizen, a first-year student. Please enter. I wanted to meet with you about what happened yesterday." Understanding that this would be his first interaction with a reputed Nara clan member, Kaizen adjusted himself mentally before entering her office with a smile.